doesn't care. Every single day can have a better way. Changes come and go, but that's the way love goes. The way love, the way love, the way love goes. The way love, the way love, the way love goes.
Hey, my name is Adwoa Ramsey.
Hi, I'm Timothy Ramsey.
We first met when he was at a sports day running, and I was with his ex-girlfriend watching him run.
Yeah, it was an athletic meeting.
Yeah.
I was running hurdles and 100 meters.
Because he was quick back then, you know what I'm saying?
Back then, before you fed me too much now.
You know.
Yeah, we met at an athletic meet. We had similar friendship groups.
Yeah.
My brother was dating one of her friends. And yeah, that's when we first met. It was this loud, obnoxious American girl.
Lies. But yeah, that's how we first met.
Yeah, that's how it happened.
I think one of the main things that I really love about him is that he allows me to be who I am in all of my like, if you know me, there is nothing small about who I am. And so he never kind of tries to stifle me or stop me from exploring and becoming all that God has called me to be. So I really love that about him, because he just gives me the freedom to find myself without trying to be like, well, you should be this or you should do that. So I think that, because I think all of my life, I've had people try to kind of limit me. And being married to him has kind of just allowed me to just be free and be who I am. So I love that about him.
I would say her passion. She's very, very passionate. She loves very deeply.
Yes.
She has a big heart, and I think that's a major thing for me. Because who doesn't like love? Who doesn't like to be loved? I was the baby of the family, so I received a lot of love in my upbringing. A bit too much, yeah. So along on our journey, we've had friction with that kind of context. But I think growing with her, we've literally grown from children into maturity. Her passion, her heart, her love for God is her fire for the things of God. Her creativity is amazing. I love that. Her booty, I love that. I just had to put that in there. I'm sorry.
Well, my God.
Is that allowed? Is that allowed?
Well, my God.
It's marriage, right?
It's true. Let them know.
I think they wanted the real.
Praise him.
So I love her. I love everything about her.
There's a lot to love.
Amen.
Okay, I think I dislike the most sometimes his lack of belief in himself. I feel like there's certain times that I'm just kind of like, just do it. Like, there's things that he needs to do. There's things that he believes that he should do. But I just feel like sometimes he doesn't believe he really has it. And so I just kind of like, I think that's one of the main things I'm always kind of praying about. Like, okay, let him just see like the greatness. Let him see it fully. And so I think that sometimes that's kind of one of the things that I really dislike, is that there's just moments that I think he doubts his swag, his sauce. I mean, you see the J's, you see the like, it's there. So yeah, I think that's one of the things. The other thing is, the homie don't cook. So we're gonna just leave that there. That's one thing. He does bits.
I do bits and pieces. I do what I need to do. I do what I need to do.
I think those are the two things. You asked me for one, but I gave you two.
What do I like? What do I dislike about my wife?
It's all right. There's gonna be no repercussions.
Because she's very creative.
I know exactly what she's gonna say.
My dislike, sometimes there's a bit of focus where she'll get bored of something because she's very creative. So then it's on to the next thing. And I'm like, hey, let's try and finish the first thing first before you move on to the next one and then the next one, because there's so much in her, so much creative juices flowing.
What it is I need a team.
She says she needs a team, but so that's kind of my one thing. So trying to keep up with her and the next movie is good. It has its pros and cons. So yeah, that's probably the main dislike. Like it's nothing major, you know. it's not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been in a pretty good place for a while, but there were things that I guess happened in the early stages of our relationship that were quite toxic, quite hurtful, and in fact, the last deep hurt that I actually felt was based on something historical, but in a recent context because the pain still came, and basically it was in our early years we had a friend that we were supporting. He was going through a really rough time, and we were supporting. He was actually her friend first, but we were supporting him through all kinds of situations. And so I remember, I think it was, when did I preach a breach series? So maybe about 5 years ago, I was preaching a series about breaches, like repairing the breach, repairing injurious things that the enemy would try and do in our lives, in our churches, in our culture, and so on and so forth. And so there was kind of like some deep repentance going on. And she shared something that happened in the early stages of the relation of our marriage that I didn't know. That this guy had like kissed her, and So you wanted the real, right?
Here we go.
So he had kissed her.
Yeah.
And she said, during this teaching, I've felt this burden to share that this guy tried to kiss you. And this is like maybe 15 years ago. Yeah. Maybe even longer. Yeah. But actually, I felt the pain like it was recent, like it was yesterday. Like what? And so then I'm like, okay, what does this mean? Yeah. You're having to historically ask something that we've both moved way past, but that pain was still recent. So so that's one thing off the top of my head that I can think that was probably the last deep hurt that I felt beyond the natural cycle of
But
marriage.
he dealt with it well because it was just very much a conversation. So it was like, let's just talk about it without and I think because we had it literally was over 15 years ago. So I think because we had both grown so much and because of the space that we were in, we were able to have healthy communication about it, and it was nothing there was no hiding anything about that. So that was kind of something. Yeah,
but as a man
though, it rocked him.
I dealt with it well, but as a man, I can't say I wasn't rocked about that. It was like, okay. Yeah. But it's a part of our process.
Yeah, definitely. For me personally, we haven't, except for that situation. But then again, earlier on in our marriage, we have 3 kids. I was pregnant. No, I had my son, and my husband was working, and he was also volunteering for our church. And so, same sort of situation, but not as crazy as mine. Basically, there was a work wife kind of situation, and she just really liked him. And so, but it got to the space where he realized, and they never did anything, but he realized, okay, hold on, this is going in a place that it really shouldn't go. Like, I'm catching feelings, she's catching feelings, and if we don't stop, we gonna go somewhere we shouldn't go. And so he told me, and I think that was probably the biggest kind of thing that we had to deal with from my side, that kind of rocked us, because back then, and then this is, I mean, we'll be married 25 years in October. Back then, this is maybe about 5, 6 years in?
About 6, 7 years in.
So back then, the Brooklyn in me, because I grew up in New York, and so the Brooklyn in me was real kind of strong and heavy.
Very strong.
And so, I tried to stab him and all manner of, I still got the mark in my kitchen door, y'all. We ain't even changed the door. It's a memorial.
Oh my!
A memorial
There's a
of what God can do. You know what
we should definitely change.
We should change the door. Definitely, we should change the door. But and so that I think was the biggest thing that we had to kind of deal with. And one of the things that we did have to, and how we came through that was God was showing us there came a space where we were no longer doing what we needed to do to keep each other first. So I was focused, busy on the kids. He was focused on ministry and work. And we kind of just missed each other. And so where we were both growing and needing to make sure that we kept each other in the first place where we used to, we kind of had let that subside. And so God really kind of had to build us both up, come back together and be like, okay, this is what it looks like to be married. You have to put the work in. And so we kind of just sat down, had many conversations, and just kind of kept growing and kept pushing each other, kept pouring into each other, making sure that we were not neglecting the things that we were neglecting before that kind of allowed. Because like, no matter what you do, you always know, and obviously we're believers. And so for us, it's always that space where if you give the devil any kind of room, he's going to kick that door open and run with it. And so we just kind of decided we will put each other first. We will do what we need to do. And yeah, so from there here up to now, we haven't had anything that's
there's things
rocked the boat
you go
in that
through
sense.
Regular marriage stuff.
Yeah, but nothing that's
deep hurt or pain.
Yeah.
It's kind of been relegated to those moments.
Yeah.
Beyond,
marital irritations, like your breath smell, you're getting me on my nerves.
You didn't clean when you should have cleaned what you've been doing
all
all
that
day,
kind of stuff.
All that kind of stuff. But for the most part,
we cool.
We started dating, and then 2 years into us dating, she got pregnant. And so this was kind of before we knew Jesus.
Yeah.
So before Christ. But I grew up in my dad's a preacher. Grew up in a Christian home. No sex before marriage. That was the mantra from mum and dad. But young man getting it in, and then obviously this young Brooklyn chick who was very forward, very very forward. So
see what we not gonna do.
So we just started, young love.
Yeah.
And so we had a babe. She got pregnant.
That's a whole story in itself.
She was 16 years old. She got pregnant. So we're kids having a baby.
Yeah.
So we go through that. There's a whole another story and the
about
hand
that.
of God behind that.
Yeah.
But so we go through that. So we already have a baby. Then she gets saved, born again. I get born again a few months afterwards. And as we're looking at our relationship, there's both kind of an intention on us, a focus on us that we think that God wants to do something with us, different with us in our relationship, and that we should sanctify it and make it holy before God. And so we agreed to get married.
Yeah.
So so I got saved in February.
February.
By October we were married. She was 18.
Yep.
I was 20. Kids.
Yeah, literally.
Married with one child.
Literally.
And then a couple years in, 3 years
we
have our second baby.
Shiloh.
And then what's the difference between
Then
them?
3 years later.
Then 3 years again,
Literally.
we have our son.
Literally.
So each one adds a different dynamic, whether
Yeah.
that's financial, whether that's pressure. And like Aj mentioned earlier, her life became about the kids. And then I go through that feeling of neglect because it's all about the kids.
Yeah.
It's all about the children. All that energy investment is in the children, and the investment's not in the marriage. And I get it. It happens in relationships. But I think God had to intervene to help us prioritize this.
Yeah.
Because when the children grow old, which they are now, they're grown, they're all grown.
Big people. We just left together. I ain't got nobody else but him in the house.
So, you can find out once the kids grow that you don't have nothing between you.
Right.
But because of that intervention, we still have love, we still
Yes.
have passion, we
Yes.
still have a life together, and we've raised some great kids as well
Yeah.
at the same time. So, but definitely it changed, you know, having young,
Oh, yeah.
being young, having young children.
Ooh, it was
it's
hard.
It's not sexy.
It was hard,
it's
y'all.
Not, it's not
Oh,
sexy.
Jesus.
It's
I
not,
went back.
it's not conducive unless you are intentional.
That's right.
And carve out time for one another. It's not that conducive to developing
Yeah.
the relationship as husband and wife.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I got pregnant. And one of the things was I didn't know I was pregnant until quite far in.
Yeah, we didn't find out.
Yeah.
So it was about.
She
found out about 3
3
months.
months.
I think 19 weeks
So
that she was pregnant.
by this time, we haven't told anybody. And so we just told his big sister. And he was about to go into uni. I was kind of just doing my thing. And so, truthfully, she was like, you know, talk to us. And she was like, you're too young. You're not ready. We're going to get rid of it. We were like, oh, okay. Because, you know, we're young. So we're kind of like, okay. I didn't know anything about God. He didn't, well, obviously I knew about God because of the things that I've experienced with my mom and different churches and stuff like that. But nothing personal. So his sister then, but because of how far gone I am, the clinic they have to charge a bit more. So she had to pay a deposit.
Yeah, it was £600.
It was £600, but she had to pay $350 for us to get the appointment. And so we went up to Harley Street, me, him, and his sister. I was in the room, so you had to be by yourself. So they had to wait outside. So they took me into the room, put me in the room, gave me all my stuff and said, just take your clothes off, put on the gown, and the doctor will be in. And I was like, okay, cool. Took off my clothes, lie down on the bed, and all of a sudden, now I don't know anything about a personal relationship with God. I know nothing like that. All of a sudden, as I'm lying in the bed, I like this, the only way I could have described it back then was like an energy, like this, the room filled up with this presence. And I just heard, do not kill her. I have a plan for her. And I was like, what? And I heard it again. Do not kill her. I have a plan for her. Oh my gosh, every time I talk about this, I well up. Do not kill her. I have a plan for her. And the presence was so strong. I jumped up. I grabbed my clothes. I ran outside. I said to him, I don't know what's just happened, but I'm not allowed to kill this baby.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
I can't do it. So she's crying, weeping, I can't do it. And I was like, I looked at my sister, I was like,
we're having a baby.
I guess we're having a baby.
And a few months later, my daughter Tamika was born. I didn't know she was a girl. I didn't know anything. We didn't get we didn't get an ultrasound. We didn't know what she was. But in the room, the Lord was like, this little girl got a plan for her life. And so now we kind of look at it and it's like, wow. So when we had her, she really helped us kind of grow up and mature. And she really kind of gave us focus, and our desire like really changed from just being these kids to now being parents of someone that we believed was special. Like we were like, yo, Shorty's got like there's something on her. We don't even know what this is, but there is something on her. And we knew, like even from when she was little, we just knew that there was a grace in her in a funny way, like arts and entertainment. And so now, watching her life, she's an actress. She's right now on Moulin Rouge. She's done quite a few shows on TV and stuff, and she's kind of just formulating. She's about to get married in August. So like, yeah, so kind of being young parents was very hard. I'm not gonna say it wasn't difficult, but in a wild way, God really had his hand on it. So yeah, it was quite interesting.
Love doesn't have to be a losing game. Every single day can have a better way. Changes come and go, but that's the way love goes. The way love goes. The way love goes.